Listener discretion is advised.
We got this. We're great.
We're doing it. All right. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Yeah, sure you betcha.
And maybe some Gaelic.
And maybe some Scottish Gaelic, because I'm in a manic phase. I'm Kenyan.
I'm Lucy, also in a manic phase.
I'm Amanda, just here experiencing all of this alongside you.
Regular depressive phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just baseline average depression.
I basically got my sad lamp and the weather turned to spring in the same week.
It's like too much.
Yeah, so my body is just like, whoa. This stuff is great.
Wow.
What was that meme you sent that was like people who deny seasonal affective disorder, but then spring rolls around or it gets above 50 and you feel like you've just popped a bunch of Molly?
Yeah.
That's exactly how I've been feeling for a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, on that note, I know my case is going to bring us the fuck down. So
let's all pop some Molly right now.
Well, what are we talking about today?
First, we have a very special fan pick this week brought to you by Miss Alexandria. Hello. And Miss Alexandria has selected the topic of Facebook confessions. Yeah. So killers
It's going to be a juicy
or
one.
criminals who used Facebook to confess to their crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And my case is dark.
It always is.
Fuck else. How do you say what the fuck else is new in garlic bread?
Garlic.
I'm only on day 3 of Duolingo, so we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Dead language lingo.
Mm-hmm.
Language lingo.
I could say I am bad.
Ooh.
Hamiduna.
Hamiduna.
Yeah.
I like that.
Hamiduna.
I'm a bad daddy.
Yeah, how do you say you've been bad?
I can say you are bad.
Okay.
Hauduna.
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 Okay, well, get back to me when you can garlic bread my daddy kink. How about that?
My kink is garlic bread, if I'm being honest.
We had garlic bread
so
for dinner
good.
last night.
I'm texting Bill.
I mean, like, among other things. But yeah, we also had
Oh, okay. I thought
it was not the whole entree.
We
big part
should
of it.
make garlic bread.
you're texting Bill.
Yes, and when I say things like we should, he knows exactly
Yeah.
what
Did you
that
put
means.
we in quotes?
No, he knows. The quotes are implied.
Just go passive and say garlic bread should be made.
Doesn't
Garlic bread sound good?
sounds so good.
Just text him a string of all of these things.
He's amazing. He just goes, okay.
Oh, God, that's awesome.
While he's in the other room, like making promotional videos for our wine.
I love him.
I love him too. Doesn't garlic bread sound so good? It always does, he said.
Stockholm syndrome is so real, y'all.
I'm scared. Oh, he says, unlike its asshole cousin banana bread.
Oh,
how rude.
yes!
Polarizing thought.
I love Bill. I am so there with him on the banana bread.
I love banana bread.
train.
I'll eat it, but most of it gets tossed in the trash, and I only make it out of guilt because I've let a bunch of bananas go black.
I like it, but to eat it the next day or in the following days, I have to microwave it and slather it in butter. I only
With
like
butter.
it warm.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I will
I put
Anyway.
chocolate chips in mine,
pretty
too.
much every other type of bread before banana bread.
Ugh, I love every kind of
I don't
bread.
like bread. There, I said it.
Okay, well,
I like
that's
chips.
nuts.
Does that count? Is that bread?
All right, let's move on. Facebook.
Before this friendship ends,
Yeah.
can we please move on?
That was really scary.
Jesus. Yeah, I did not like that.
You're both giving me really mean looks. I feel
I'm
targeted.
disgusted, not angry. I'm disgusted. I just want to make that clear.
I was trying to think of how to say she doesn't like bread and garlic, which I can say, but let's move on. Okay.
Let's move on.
So, Amanda, what is our wine crime pairing? You're my friend. You have to be my friend.
Lucky for Lucy, it's bread. We're just eating bread.
You're
dry.
my friend. You have to be my friend.
You have to be
No,
my friend.
I was thinking
You've
about
signed a contract.
You signed a contract. You can't go anywhere. I own you. You have to be my friend. I was thinking about all of the dumb things I've done on social media and how basically all of those things have been fueled by liquor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your AMA on Twitter.
Yeah, that was good though. But I was hammered. Things like that. The mac and cheese video.
Oh,
very
that was
drunk.
so good.
My favorite video. When at the very end of the scene when you drop
And
the
I
box,
dropped the box, but it cuts.
it cuts off so fast. Like the last millisecond is you just
And
smiling
it's like,
nicely.
I
and then,
did it. And then
I
it
did it.
cut. That was a good moment. Basically, anytime I've been like drunk stalking an ex and then you like accidentally like something and then your entire world explodes inside. So I thought, what better pairing to go with that hurricane of feelings than a hurricane?
Oh, yes.
Lucky, I love hurricanes.
Nice.
And while I did have rum and a hurricane mix on hand, I'm going to share a really easy but delicious recipe of things that you can just buy at the store. Like you don't have to freshly squeeze any of this shit. You can get the pre, squeezed, the purees, whatever. But this is
Work smarter, not
right.
harder.
Exactly. And you can also just get a mix, which there are a lot of really good mixes out there. But if anyone's interested in actually getting like the materials to make their own hurricane, here is a great recipe. I also recommend nabbing your own specific hurricane glass from the Rainforest Cafe.
America's
Maybe
favorite
invite
cafe.
America's
Lucy
favorite
next time.
Yeah. So you're going to want 2 ounces of light rum and 2 ounces of dark rum. And, if you doubled that, I'd be fine with it, like I did. You're going to want an ounce of lime juice, freshly squeezed, an ounce of orange juice, freshly squeezed. So even just like simply orange, that stuff is so good. A half ounce of passion fruit puree. That's where you're going to get that really nice kind of bright orange coloring, red, orange.
Oh, it's passion fruit.
Yeah. Well, on this recipe, I think you can mix it up, but the passion fruit puree is some good shit.
How much have you had?
I've had 2 sips.
Passion fruit puree.
I've had like 2 sips, but I like quadrupled the rum. So there's that.
Saturday.
A half ounce of simple syrup, which is literally sugar water. You can make it yourself. They have really easy simple syrup recipes. You could also skip that step because it's just, if you want a slightly less sweet hurricane, you can just leave that out. That's typically what I do.
And if you're really lazy, you can buy pre-made simple syrups,
Oh, you
which I
absolutely
have
can.
totally done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is literally just sugar in
Yeah, it's
Sugar,
the easiest thing to make in the world, and I still bought it.
Oh, why bother?
I've done it before,
And then
too.
you're gonna want 1 bar spoon of grenadine, which is like basically a tablespoon. You garnish it with an orange wheel, which I didn't have, so suck on that. And like one of those little maraschino kind of like preserved cherries.
Yeah.
And you are set, or you can just get your hurricane glass, put some ice in there, fill the rum for the entire bottom globe, add your fresh, add your orange juice. And I use lemon, not lime, because I didn't have any limes on hand. And then top it off with your hurricane mix.
I love how you gave a recipe and then you didn't follow
No.
60% of that recipe.
That's what I said.
75.
I used a mix. I made this clear. I used a mix. But if you want to do it without a mix, this is how you're going to do it. I didn't do that. I didn't grocery shop for this or for
She
anything.
did say.
Oh, yeah.
Said the woman who texted her partner to make garlic bread, knowing full well I am not going to participate with any part of it except the eating part.
We should.
That's how I make a cocktail.
Eat garlic bread tonight.
We should make garlic bread.
Fill in the blanks.
Anyway, what are you two drinking?
I am not drinking as we record because as soon as we're finished recording, tonight is the first night of Passover, and so I will be drinking a shit ton of red wine as part of our Passover Seder with only me and Zach this year, but
Aw.
a lot of wine is involved. So
I love
I
that.
am
That's wonderful. Is
I
that
love
a special
Passover.
kind of wine?
I mean,
Meshevitz?
you can drink Manischewitz, but Manischewitz is disgusting, so we just drink red wine. We're not we don't actually keep like strict kosher for Passover.
You're not like Jewish.
I am not. Correct. I am not. Zach keeps pretty kosher for Passover, but not not so strict as to drink fucking Manischewitz because it's.
I think I've had Manischewitz before. It's like a watered down port.
Yeah, it's kind of
like,
sweet.
It's like both sweet and like, no, it's not great.
It's not great. No.
Yeah.
We just.
I've had
drink
it, but
regular
only
red
at
wine.
Passover, like at Passover Seder dinners.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there are
Never
some
had
other kosher for Passover alcohols. You can drink tequila.
Mm-hmm.
You can drink.
Really?
Yeah. You can drink
Oh.
potato vodka.
Dang.
I think that's it.
All right, I'll
I
take
do not know
it.
the rules. I
will
got my
take it.
staple, my White Claw.
Yep. All right.
Okay. Thank you for your hurricane recipe.
All
Now
right.
I want a fucking hurricane.
I know, don't they sound
Lucy,
so good?
What's our background and maybe psych for Facebook confessions? Why would somebody confess to their crimes on social media?
Well,
Good question.
good question. I don't have much background here. It's straight psych. My entire segment is based on one article, which is based on one academic study that was published in the journal Personality and Individual Differences in October 2015. Because speaking of working harder or working smarter, not harder, all of the articles that I found, I wanted to talk about like why certain types of people post certain types of things on Facebook or just like post on Facebook at all. Every article that I found was essentially the same information. So it might appear that I didn't do any real research, but I'm just not going to repeat myself 10 times. So this is all from one article. So basically, what do your Facebook status updates say about your personality? And unfortunately, they did not have a category for posts like, I just murdered my girlfriend's mom, LOL.
Oh,
Dang it.
Oh, no.
I know.
Well, we will talk about those cases. So.
I was confident that we would, but still found some pretty interesting things. So this is, like I said, that article from psychologistworld.com. A 2015 study has found that Facebook users with different levels of the so-called Big Five personality factors, such
Water
as openness,
buffalo, lion.
are those the Africa things?
Those are the African Big Five. That was a bad
Oh.
joke. Niche joke.
All right.
niche
you for
joke.
that.
Hashtag niche joke. Bug facts.
Hashtag bug facts.
How's your Scottish Gaelic going?
Hashtag
I'm gonna
Gallup
go
bread.
study it while you talk.
You're a sucker
She
for
printed
niche
it
things.
out. She
You printed it out?
I have
Are there
my
MapQuest
methods.
directions in there too to Scotland?
Zach does make fun of me because I still print out Google Map directions when we go on trips, and I still use my phone app, but I need to have the paper as well, just in case.
I was joking, and so was Amanda.
I know. I'm telling you.
You are your mother. You're your mother. You make a fucking binder for everything. Where's your Gaelic binder?
I'm working on it.
It's being built. It's currently, we just saw 2 pages of it. Whoo, that's good stuff.
And you say I'm predictable. I almost
We're all
offered.
predictable.
I almost offered to take a group photo earlier today, and I didn't. I didn't because I had your voices in my brain.
And it's still gnawing at you. that you didn't do
Well, it
it.
was also because it was one dad taking a picture of like 3 little girls at Lachelle's at the restaurant. I was like, oh, did you want to be in the... never mind.
Not
I
worth
want to
it.
like approach children.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the big 5 personality factors for those who were confused, such as openness and extroversion, are likely to use Facebook to pursue different goals. The study, conducted by Brunel University and involving 555 participants, so not a super small pool,
No, that's a good size study.
found that personality traits can predict the subject of status updates and even the number of likes and comments that people with varying personality types will typically receive in response to their social media posts.
Okay, I'm ready.
Amanda perks up.
I'm listening.
Oh, trust me, I have you in a definite category.
Don't worry, I've
wait.
got you pegged.
Yep.
You pegged.
Sir.
Kenyon doesn't even have Facebook anymore, so I can't even use yours. But the study measured participants' big 5 personality traits, which are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Other factors including Did you just do this when I said neuroticism?
Yeah. I know which factor I'm in. Self-awareness.
Check. You are funny.
Other factors, including self-esteem and narcissism, were also evaluated. Participants were asked to confirm the purpose of their Facebook use and the average number of likes or comments they received in response to status updates. They were shown a list of 20 popular topics commonly written about in statuses, including my social activities, something funny that happened to me, my views on politics,
Oh, God. That's why I
my
had to.
pets.
Oh, God, my neck.
I know.
My neck, my back, my pussy cat, and my crack,
And my bat.
and my taxidermied bat.
I do have well, it's a wet specimen, but yeah.
I have a dry specimen taxidermied bat.
I know. I'm really jealous of your dry spec.
She cute.
Or my exercise routine. So participants rated the frequency with which they posted statuses related to each topic on a scale from never to very often.
I'm going to go with a never on that last one for myself.
Could be a lack of exercise routine.
I don't really, people know this about me. I talk about that more on the podcast than I do on social media.
Yeah.
I don't
right.
discuss exercise on social media.
There's no point.
Could
There's no
anything
point.
be more boring? People who like
For me,
post
no.
their runs. Like what?
If that works for you as a great motivational tool and helps you build community, great. I'm not interested.
yeah,
Don't expect me to
Don't
be in
expect
that
my likes.
community.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have some friends who like do like circusy stuff and like
that's cool.
the silks.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I'll watch
Like
that all day.
aerial yoga and stuff.
Yep.
That looks
I
That's
follow I follow a couple of strippers on Instagram and
Love
they're
that.
Also
they
great.
post really cool stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, in terms of like, oh, I did my personal best of my 3-mile run. Like, okay. Keep it to yourself.
Just
Nobody
don't
wants
get,
to know that.
I just don't get it. Join a group and then post it there, I guess.
Right?
I don't know.
I mean, you do you, but I guess what I'm
Yeah.
saying is that I personally don't give a fuck.
right.
all.
Right.
There it is.
So the study's authors found that topics mentioned in users' statuses were associated with a number of personality traits. Even the response to statuses that users received from friends was correlated with one particular personality trait. Narcissists. Sorry, Corey just tried to call. I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Narcissists tended to receive more likes and comments on their own Facebook posts compared to those with lower narcissism scores.
They've built up that following.
Yeah. People know what they expect. The Big Five conscientiousness trait encompasses tendencies to be organized and goal-oriented in one's behavior. I'm doing this for Kenyon.
Yeah, for the
I think you're highly conscientious.
me.
Yes.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I'll twerk to that.
I'll twerk to that. People with high levels of this personality trait are hardworking and are highly motivated to succeed in their chosen field. They care about the impact their behavior has on others, enjoy working on a schedule or rotation, which you are the main culprit in canceling recordings dates, so I think that's...
I will procrastinate like a motherfucker, but I usually procrastinate with other productive shit.
Fair.
That makes sense.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Or like a migraine.
Well,
But sometimes you have a migraine.
Sometimes I'm fucking
That's not
taking a nap.
procrastinating, though. That's just being sick.
True.
So we're
as
going to
well-
not come down on anyone for that.
I'm not coming down.
Okay.
As well as fulfilling their personal and professional responsibilities. Low levels of conscientiousness typically reflect a more relaxed attitude to life with less organization and more spontaneous behavior. The researchers initially hypothesized that conscientious Facebook users would be more likely to post statuses discussing safe subjects, so like uncontroversial topics that would be unlikely to create disagreement with friends.
That's not
However,
me.
surprisingly,
Or me.
the survey findings did not reflect this theory. Instead, results indicated a link between conscientiousness and users posting more status updates relating to their children. The study authors suggest one possible explanation for such posting behavior, that conscientious individuals may update about their children for purposes other than communicating with their friends. Perhaps such
showing
updates
off.
reflect an indirect form of competitive parenting.
Yeah, I also don't
I don't
care
have
about
kids
posts
yet,
about
but I'm
your kids.
so gonna do that. I do that with my dog right now.
I cannot wait to unfollow you once your kids are out of
Oh
there.
my God.
I'm gonna be a nightmare.
Self-awareness. I love that.
Self-awareness. Openness is associated with an enjoyment of new and unfamiliar experiences. A person with a high openness score will often like to travel and embark on adventures. They are more open to unconventional ideas and will often have a keen interest in the arts. The study found that people with this personality trait post more status updates relating to intellectual topics. They use Facebook more as a source of information, of news, ideas, and opinions, rather than as a way of connecting socially with other users. So people high in openness may write updates about current events, research, or their political views for the purpose of sharing impersonal information rather than for socializing.
I'd say that's more how I use Facebook specifically anymore.
Yeah. I was getting too upset about, I was getting too into political news and posting on Facebook and decided I needed to step away. And so I deleted it.
What actually made you leave was Facebook not recognizing hate speech and very fucked up practices within their communities, quote unquote, and not doing anything about it.
Exactly. Yeah. Somebody praised Kyle Rittenhouse, who is a fucking white supremacist murderer, and they praised him. And then I reported it to Facebook, and Facebook didn't take it down. And fuck that. If that ain't everything that's wrong with our society. Yeah.
It's such a big corporation at this point that they're pandering to so many special interests.
Well,
I'm just I'm not interested anymore.
And they're also outwardly, even when you make reports, it's during COVID, we don't have human beings that are reviewing this shit. So if they are not using specific tag words that are going to trigger for a removal, they're gonna get approved and they're not gonna get taken down. Meanwhile, you literally can't have the status men are trash without getting temporarily Facebook banned. There's so many racist and misogynistic practices that are embedded in the code of the social media that allow people to just skirt by making really fucked up posts without removal. It's very frustrating.
And a lot of the posts that are just more nuanced is not really a good word to use because you can see racism when it's in black and white in front of you. But like you were saying, if it doesn't have those particular keywords, it's not going to trigger anything.
Yeah. And even when you flag it for review, if it doesn't contain those keywords and they have openly said that like we're just not staffed to have people actually review these and make that call.
Or they do review it, but it takes a while, which I do understand, but like.
Then the damage is already done because it's been out there for so long.
Right.
It's very frustrating.
I haven't missed it like at all.
I'm going to be blunt. Like if I weren't using it, obviously for our business and for sharing mutual aid, I wouldn't be on it.
Yeah. I mean,
that's all I use it for.
I use Twitter and I use Instagram, which is owned by Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah.
So it's not like I'm free of it.
Completely free.
No, but I don't know. Everybody makes their own choice.
I use Facebook pretty much just for the videos, like the watch section. Like when I'm getting ready in the morning, you both know that I like to watch Dr. Phil clips. Just love like doing my makeup or whatever.
Monsters,
yeah,
being
seriously,
complicit in ruining our society, Dr. Phil.
Yeah, he's really the people on that show are often fascinating though. And also 90 Day Fiancé, also probably complicit in the downfall of our society, but whatever.
But so
what
good.
isn't?
What isn't? Extroversion is one of the most discussed and researched personality traits, and is one of the big 5 factors
Not
among
that head, Amanda.
water buffalo, lions, snakes, whatever.
Oh, she's nodding.
She's not. Extroverts are sociable and outgoing, often talkative and confident when meeting new people.
That doesn't sound like me at all.
Oh, God. They often feel most comfortable when surrounded by others. People with a low level of this trait, aka introverts, enjoy their own company and thrive in smaller groups of close friends.
I teeter on both, to be perfectly honest. I'm definitely like, my mom and I are very similar that we're both like extroverted introverts where we do prefer to recharge in our own space, like either alone or with a small group, but we can both thrive in group settings as well.
I can do the group settings like when we go on tour. I love our meetups. I love our meet and greets. I love meeting new people. I can be extroverted in certain settings, but the second I'm done, I'm fucking done. And I need to be alone.
Yeah.
My threshold is far larger than either of yours.
Yes.
But
you got a bigger threshold.
But we all, when we're done with those, points of contact, we all go to our own hotel room. We need to have our quiet time. Like, I think that a lot of it is much more balanced than you're either one or the other.
Do you remember when I think it was it our first CrimeCon year or second CrimeCon year, and I was so burnt out.
It was Dirndl Day.
Yeah, and we were
I
wearing
have a picture of you in your dirndl on the
dead fish eyes
on the little ferry in the hotel, and you're.
There was like a gondola on like a indoor
forced you
river
onto that gondola. We
in a
forced
hotel.
you. She was basically hogtied in a
I was
dirndl.
like, we'll have a photo shoot, and Kenyon's face in every photo is just glazed. She was not there.
I was so burnt out socially and so needed to just sit in the room alone. And you guys were like, come on this gondola.
We're going on a gondola ride.
In our dirndl.
We'll have
In costume.
She was not happy about it.
I'll
And the
put that-
photos are priceless. Find them and put them on the drive.
Yes, they're going on the drive.
Good.
They will be
They'll
on the blog. They're priceless.
They're so good.
My God. Okay. Where did I leave off? Okay, introverts. Researcher Tara Marshall found that people with the sociable, outgoing tendencies associated with extroversion used Facebook primarily as a communication tool and tended to post more frequently about social activities in everyday life. So that's probably not Amanda, but you're definitely the extrovert among us.
Yeah.
The survey found that participants with high levels of reported neuroticism tended to use Facebook as a means of obtaining validation. Such users may post
I'm not
statuses.
that neurotic, but I definitely use social media to obtain validation. That's my narcissism.
I think you used to do it a lot more than you do now.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People get old and stop caring as much.
Yeah.
Or care more about actually important things like social justice and things like that. Such users may post statuses on the social network as a way of receiving support from friends for their feelings and opinions when they are feeling isolated in their views.
See, I'm neurotic, but not in this way.
No.
For this.
I'm a highly
agree.
neurotic person,
Yeah.
but it tends
Neither
to
of
stay off
you,
of social
neither of
media.
your neurotic tendencies manifest in this way, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Many other ways, though.
Yeah.
Sure.
Narcissistic users tend to show more interest in themselves compared to those around them.
There we
Shocking.
go.
They are more concerned about.
There's
I'm
my
gonna throw out
there's
my
my
back.
spot.
I know. Oh, for those who can't see us right now,
Get on Patreon.
every time I'm describing something about any one of us, we're just like bobbing our heads.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. The videos are worth it.
The videos are worth it. $1 a month.
Yeah.
They are more concerned about their self-presentation and worry what others may think of them. As a result, narcissists may be considered to be vain or selfish by their peers. Similarly to users with high levels of neuroticism, narcissists were found to use Facebook as a tool for obtaining validation and assurance from others. Narcissists tended to post more status updates relating to their personal achievements in life. They share details of their diets and their fitness routines more regularly than other users.
Uh-oh.
The study found that narcissists reported receiving more likes and comments from their friends in response to their posts. And the researchers suggest that this may be due to the topics that narcissists discuss in their posts being more popular than those that others share. So if it's a really like low-hanging fruit, like, oh, I had this beautiful meal for lunch. Like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
if it's a pretty colorful salad, you can like it, whatever.
It's very easy to, on social media, just like as you're scrolling, like something that is an obvious win from somebody
Right.
else.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, oh, like, yay for them. Click.
You don't have to think too hard about
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those tended to be shared more by narcissists who are likely just in it for the validation.
Mm-hmm.
The study found that self-esteem played a significant role in influencing participants' Facebook habits, affecting the topics that they posted about in status updates. So people with low self-esteem were found to use Facebook as a tool for self-expression rather than for validation sought by users with higher levels of other personality traits.
Okay.
Of those participants who were in a relationship, users with less self-esteem posted more updates featuring their partner than those with more self-esteem. So if they're constantly posting like the hand on the chest, like, oh, we're on vacation. Oh, we're so happy. Oh, look at my ring. Oh, we're just so happy.
Yeah.
I feel like the happier people pretend to be on social media, the more miserable they are
Yeah.
in real life.
Zach and I have like 10 photos of us together, and we've been together like 12 years.
Yeah. I love having
We're
photos
just
of
like-
me and Bill, but like we usually have them just at home.
Right.
Like he got me a Polaroid camera that we'll like take on trips together. Like I like getting pictures of the two of us together, but the amount I post versus the amount I have, very different.
You've learned your lesson after hashtag
Yeah.
propose. But
Ugh. God. Thanks again for that one.
So, Corey and I started a fairly loose tradition of if we're somewhere like swimming or near a pool, we'll take a photo together, but one of us will just be face down floating like in the background of the other one.
Jesus.
I'll put that on the drive
that's
too.
good. That's good.
My God.
We have like 10 of them in different locations.
I love get one of those things of frames where it's like all one thing, but they're separate frames like attached to each other in some kind of
Yes.
constellation, and have it be all of those.
And like, I don't think you'd pick up on it right away because the background, it's always just someone floating face down in the back.
That would be amazing.
We all got to have our traditions.
It's our thing. What can I say? Okay. So could this behavior be explained by simply a reluctance of people with low self-esteem to post about themselves in social media posts? The researchers cite other research on the issue, including one study which found that such people often worry more about breakups when in a relationship and publish relationship-related posts on days when they feel more insecure. I've picked up on this before.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like, yeah.
You can tell
Oh, yeah.
Generally, if someone's going through a hard
having a
time
good
by
time,
like
yep.
posting a cute couples picture, and then the second they post like this empowered single woman like
Haircut.
rock climbing or like a sexy like a you're like, oh yeah, they broke up.
Yep. Totally.
85% of the time it's accurate.
Yeah,
I
it's,
know.
it's trackable, folks. You're not fooling anybody.
No.
God love you.
So the
all
authors say
the
it is
same.
Yep.
the authors say it is reasonable to surmise that people with low self-esteem update about their partners as a way of laying claim to their relationship when it feels threatened. Obviously. So none of this really explains why people would like confess on Facebook, but I've always been interested in like the psychology of different kinds of people who post either like way frequently or just like different genres of posts.
Sure.
So
I think
like I
probably
said, found a
mental
bunch of
health plays into it too for like posting, I would say, an excessive amount of, in particular, status updates versus
Sure.
like posting an, excessive amount, whatever that is, of like political content or whatever.
this was also from 2015 when I think status updates and like maybe even like your wall was still a thing on Facebook.
Yeah.
Which it is.
So this is a bit outdated, but
it's- yeah.
Facebook has certainly morphed since then.
Yeah,
I
the
think this
status
could
update
apply
used
to,
to
like-
be the meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah. So I think this can be applied now to comments and shares and things like that too.
Sure. Share.
Interesting. Very interesting.
There we go. That's my seg.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's some food for thought.
I found it was interesting. A horribly written article itself. but-
Sure.
Well, you pulled out all the
Interesting.
good bits, saved us from having to read it. As I have prefaced, this case is a fan pick, and our fans are even darker than like my tendency of a lot of
Yep.
cases. Like the,
The
fan picks,
cases.
Y'all are
wild.
twisted.
yeah.
However,
Mm.
I have said this before and I will say it again.
Kenyon is more twisted.
You guided them in that direction.
Yeah,
oh,
you did.
yeah.
You laid the foundation for this.
Don't disagree.
Mm-hmm.
So, just get ready for it. Drink some of that hurricane, mama, because this is dark.
Don't have to tell me twice.
So,
jealous of your hurricane.
in the summer of 2019, 33-year-old Kaylin Blue was living with her boyfriend, Philip Schwab, also 33, and his mother in Idaho Falls. You want to guess where Idaho Falls is?
Isn't
Canada.
Philip Schwab like a mortgage provider? Charles Schwab. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is it in Idaho?
Yeah,
Idaho Falls is in Idaho, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So Kaylin had met Philip back in 2012 while she was living in Colorado and studying business at Red Rocks Community College. And it's unclear how they met initially. So either they met online because both of them were frequent, social media users, or if Philip at the time for some reason was in Colorado and so maybe they did meet in person. We don't actually know. I think it's more likely that they met online, but that is speculation. Either way, the two fell in love and began a relationship that would be long distance for several years. Then in 2016, after Kaylin had completed the business program and received an associate's degree, she decided to move to Idaho Falls to be with Philip. So no more long
Aw.
distance.
Gonna be together.
That's nice.
This is gonna end in tragedy, I know, but I'm just gonna enjoy it. This is like the beginning part of the horror movie when everybody's happy.
Mm-hmm. The only part
Things
I
are
like.
going well.
The very beginnings of movies are truly the only part I like. The setup.
Yeah.
I could care less about the plot.
I know. I would
and the
love
dark
to
shit.
watch movies. Like my dream is to just have the movie Practical Magic, but with no plot. It's just watching that family live their
Yeah.
lives and it never
Yeah.
ends.
They're
Okay.
midnight margaritas.
Yeah.
That is a comfort. That would be a comfort item.
The plot is
Irrelevant.
not that interesting.
Loose.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's
Okay.
irrelevant.
Although Kaylin felt that she was in love and was excited to no longer have to deal with the long distance relationship, her family members were not happy with her choice of Philip. Kaylin was extremely close with her family and had never lived away from them, and they also just did not approve of Philip as a partner. And Kaylin's brother Tristan especially thought this relationship was wrong for his sister. And some of the reasons are he found Philip to be socially awkward and often making inappropriate jokes that made the family uneasy.
That's not good.
And Tristan even went so far as to contact Philip and tell him that he thought he was not right for Kaylin.
Oh dear, family involvement is complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this case, Tristan had like extra reason to be extra
Hey,
protective.
I'm not against it. If you're,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not passing any kind of judgment
Mhm.
on the family involvement in this case or really any case because it's going to be different for everybody in every situation.
Right.
But it is complicated regardless.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
If your family's not on board with your partner, even if it's for like a dumb, frivolous reason that they can't let go, even if it's like on them to
it's
deal
tough.
with, it is very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we will get to the specifics in a moment. So Tristan was unable to dissuade the pair from being together, and Kaylin moved out and made her way to Idaho Falls and moved in with Philip and Philip's mother.
Oh, jeez.
According to family members, both Philip and Kaylin had cognitive disabilities and were unable to live on their own. So that is why they lived with his mother. And probably also why Tristan was so protective
Right.
of his sister and
Yep.
her choice, and why they were so nervous to have her not only move out for the first time, but like move to another state far
Yeah.
away.
That would be really hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the reporting is a little bit unclear, but it seems that Kaylin had minor learning disabilities, but no official diagnosis.
Okay.
And Philip had been diagnosed with, I think I'm saying this right, DeGeorge syndrome,
Okay.
which is also known as, I don't know, 22q11.2 deletion syndrome.
So that's a specific chromosome.
It's a chromosome
Sounds like it,
deletion. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it occurs when a segment of of chromosome 22 is deleted in the genome. I think
Okay.
that's the word. And some symptoms of DeGeorge syndrome, well, they vary widely from person to person, but they can include a range of physical and cognitive impairments.
Sure.
And so if you go on the drive, there are photos of Philip and like people who, look, I am not defending this guy, but people who just saw like a quick headline about this case and saw his photo might not have realized that like he has this syndrome, which causes like it changes the structure of, or it can change the structure of your face and cause like indentation in the center of your face.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know that he has this syndrome, I don't know.
I mean, I love going after a bad haircut, just like anybody
Right.
on a perpetrator, but like we all need to be more careful about how we weaponize how people look.
right.
Because like
Exactly.
that's irrelevant to who they are as a person.
Right.
And so that's fucking low-hanging fruit anyway. And like we could be better comedians in that regard. And everybody can just like, you don't have to go out after somebody's appearance first.
No.
Right.
But I'm always going to make fun of Ted Bundy's hair. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
never going to stop.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
Ted Bundy or Ted Cruz?
I mean, both. Everybody loves Ted Bundy's hair, but I am not a fan of Ted Bundy's hair. And I did not think he was a hottie.
What about his hair?
Like how
What does
luscious
Sarah
and
look
long
like?
and thick it is. How he like feathered it like Farrah Fawcett. I'm just not into it.
Not into
I've
it.
I've never seen his hair. Ugh, no.
Anyway, I just wanted people to be aware
Mhm.
because there are people who haven't taken the time to like learn, and then there's some terrible comments online.
Mhm.
So other symptoms of DeGeorge syndrome can include a higher risk of schizophrenia.
Mm.
So according to several studies, quote, adults with DeGeorge syndrome are a specifically high risk group for developing schizophrenia. About 30% have at least one incident of psychosis, and about a quarter develop actual full-blown schizophrenia.
Wow, that's
Wow.
high.
That is
Yeah.
really high.
Which, I mean, I
Dang.
guess if we were to learn more about DeGeorge syndrome specifically and why that is so heavily correlated, but like, I know schizophrenia comes with like some pretty specific like frontal lobe and like
Right.
prefrontal cortex trauma. So there's probably a very like solid scientific reason why they're linked, but that's really surprising. I
Yeah.
did not know that.
I didn't know it was so high. Oh, I didn't know anything about this, to be honest, until I
Yeah.
started researching it. But that seems very high. And I'm sure very smart people are out there researching
Screaming
it
in their cars
and learning about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being like, it's pronounced Die George. Okay. So Philip Schwab spent much of his time working as a volunteer at the Idaho Falls Zoo
In Idaho.
in Idaho.
Never heard of it.
Kaylin worked part-time at Walgreens and also spent time volunteering at the Idaho Falls Community Garden. So how sweet is
In
that?
Idaho.
In Idaho? I mean, that part is so sweet. He volunteers at
Yeah.
the zoo. She works and volunteers at a community garden. It sounds idyllic.
Yeah.
Kaylin also just seemed to love living there in Idaho. It was smaller than Denver, and she enjoyed feeling like a part of a community. And so for a time, it seemed like everything was going okay.
Side note, my brother and sister-in-law live in Boise, and
In Idaho?
in Idaho. I'm so excited to go visit. I think it is like an idyllic.
Oh, I heard Boise is like one of the
Amazing
most
place.
beautiful cities in the country. Like I'm so
Doesn't
excited.
Gary Gergich of Parks and Recreation have a timeshare in Boise? Oh no, Muncie. Sorry, Muncie, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Gary Gergich.
Ew.
I ran into that actor I didn't run into him. I saw him on the street, on the sidewalk in front of Zach's parents' old building in Brooklyn.
I love that.
Did you say Gary Gergich?
No, he was filming something, so I didn't get in his face.
Oh, you should have still shrieked Gary
Just
Gergich.
ruin that shot. Just ruin it.
But I was like, "Ah," and then I walked away.
She's cuffed and carried away.
Okay, so
That would
then
be amazing.
bringing it back down.
Oh, good.
Everything's great. No, we're bringing it back down.
Okay.
Then on the morning of June 21st, 2019, which was a Friday, Schwab began posting a series of extremely disturbing messages to his Facebook page.
I was
Here's
waiting for this since this is the topic.
Yeah.
And Boise's idyllic. Everyone should go. The end. Special thanks.
Wouldn't that be so great? One day we're going to do an episode like that.
Oh,
We tease about
We're
it all the
sponsored by
time.
the Boise
Boise
Board of Tourism.
Yeah.
Yes. We're just going to do nice, happy overviews of great
Stories.
places and like good things that have happened there. And you're going to
Yeah.
be
Things we love.
waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it's never going to drop.
That'd be amazing if we had
It
our
will
shit
be our
together for
lowest
April Fools.
performing episode of all time.
Yeah. Okay, so messages to his Facebook. A small sampling of these. Quote, if stabbing people is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Yikes.
Dead is better.
Ooh.
Oh, these are terrible. They're really bad. She deserved quicker.
Well,
I liked drawing it out.
Oh. Oh, no.
I'm using only my hands. And
What? Didn't he say he just stabbed?
I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, you use your hands to hold a knife.
True.
And, quote, good thing I have a get out of jail free card.
Was that referring to his
Disability,
DeGeorge
maybe?
syndrome?
I don't know. I mean, he's obviously in the middle of an episode. And again,
Right.
we've said this before on the show. Not everyone with schizophrenia will be violent, but like
Right.
there is a
God,
possibility. And
Yeah.
he clearly was in the middle of a violent episode. So who knows what he was referring to or thinking of. It could have
Yeah.
been a complete delusion. He could have
Yep.
been referencing his diagnosis and,
Yep.
I don't know. So this all happened on a Friday, the posting. On the following Monday, June 24th, Kaylin's coworkers contacted the police to ask them to do a welfare check on her
Oh, no.
after they became concerned that she had not shown up for work for 2 days in a row and hadn't called, which was very unlike her.
Oh my god.
Honey, no.
Yeah. So Kaylin had been an extremely reliable employee, and this was, like, again, not typical of her to not show up and not call.
Yeah.
She had shown up for her shift that Saturday and then had posted on Facebook around 5:30 p.m. when she got home, "Wow, what a day. Glad to be home now, and I'm staying home for the rest of the night." So what's interesting is that he posted that stuff about stabbing.
Before that status?
He posted that, what I read,
Yeah.
on the Friday. She went to work on Saturday.
That's what I mean. So he posted that stuff before her status. Could he have logged into her account and done it?
But she showed up to work.
She was at work.
That's true. So he might have been in a situation where he's like fantasizing
Yeah.
when those were being written, and then it escalates. Oh
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Ugh.
So when she failed to show up on Sunday and Monday, the post accumulated numerous comments from coworkers asking where she was and from family members frantic asking her to call them.
That's like what happened with Dee Dee Blanchard
Yeah.
and Gypsy Rose.
Yeah.
Like those weird Facebook posts, and then everybody's like, what the fuck? Somebody go check on them. And sure
Yeah.
enough,
Yep. And we're
beep,
not,
bop, bop.
we didn't do that case for this episode because we've already
We've
done
already
it.
done it. Mhm.
Along with every other true crime platform.
I mean, you can't blame all of us in true crime. That is one of
Yeah.
the most fascinating and
Right.
bizarre cases of all time. But yes, we have covered it.
We covered that
Moths to a flame.
a
Yes.
while ago.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
not heard of that case when we covered it.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't covered on like, dramatizations and stuff like that quite
Yet.
as much when we covered it.
Yeah. So at one point on Sunday, one of Kaylin's coworkers posted on Philip's wall asking him if she was okay.
Oh no.
And probably because she hadn't shown up to work that
Right.
first day. And he responded bizarrely, quote, "Yes, better now, I think.
Oh,
Thank
God.
you. Are you guys better?"
What?
Ooh, chills. That just gave me chills.
Yeah.
What is that even? What guys? Who guys?
Whoever's asked, like the other people. He's just not,
Yeah.
he's,
No,
The-
none of. Yeah, okay.
the synapses are not lining up.
I'll stop asking for a rationale
Right.
because I don't think there is one.
I mean, just like the syntax of that makes it clear that he's not, "Yes, better now, I think. Thank you. Are you guys better?" Like, he's, yeah.
the better now thing. If she's
that's
dead at
very
this
spooky.
point,
Mhm.
that's spooky and that makes sense. But then, are you guys better? Just kind of points to like dilute.
Right. So when police arrived at the Schwab home on Monday morning, Philip answered the door. His mother had been out of town the whole weekend and was still away. So that was also
Okay, I
the
was gonna ask-
opportunity.
I was going to ask about that because they were in a living situation with an in-home caregiver essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the hell is that about?
Yeah. And not
That answers that.
blaming her because the life of a caregiver is very difficult and
Well, right.
challenging and like they deserve breaks, but like imagine how she might
must-
feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I really therapy for everyone.
Yeah.
Because this is not her fault.
Right.
And I mean, a lot of folks have an in-home caregiver who are absolutely capable of, stretches of time within a certain span of days based on, what they're able to handle being home alone.
Right.
And if she was not there for the weekend, then it's very likely that she had gone away
Right.
prior without any issues.
Well, it seemed like everything had been going really well.
Right.
And, Kaylin was able to go to work consistently and work at Walgreens. And so it seemed like they were both very high functioning, and she probably just missed this or didn't recognize the signs of an escalating schizophrenic.
Well, we're also
situation.
considering, we shouldn't consider his mother as a professional in-home nurse caregiver
Right.
situation.
Yeah, she's
It's
an
just- it's
unpaid
his
caregiver.
mom.
Right.
Right.
It's his mom.
Right.
So sometimes moms go out of town.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. I know I'm projecting. I don't know. Couldn't find any interviews with her or anything. I'm just speculating. But
I just hope, we're just hoping that she is not beating herself up. And I
Right.
mean, how could you not? But because of the events
right.
that transpired when she was not in the home.
Right.
Not her fault whatsoever.
At all.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So the cops show up on Monday morning to do this welfare check. Philip answers the door. He's cooperative and he invites the officers inside. And it was immediately apparent that a crime had taken place because the officers noticed, quote, a considerable amount of blood.
Oh, dear.
So that also
Oh,
adds
dear.
to the fact that he wasn't aware really of reality and what was going on because
Sure.
he was like, yeah, come on in.
Come on. Yeah.
And hadn't tried
Nothing
to
to see here.
clean anything up. And
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
so when asked where Kaylin was, Philip responded that he, quote, had hurt her, stabbed her, and buried her in the backyard.
Well,
Upon
that is an answer to that question.
Upon searching the backyard, police found Kaylin buried in an extremely shallow grave in a flower bed. And in fact, it was so shallow that her face was still visible above the ground.
Oh, my God.
Wow, that is an image. Ooh.
Ooh. It's hard to dig a hole.
It is.
I mean, it is.
That's so creepy, though.
Yeah. Can you imagine looking in a flower garden and there's just a face staring up at you?
Nope.
Told you it was a dark case. So, further, I'm
to answer your
stunned.
question, yes, I can imagine
I've
it.
stunned myself basically by writing this. So, further examination revealed that she had been stabbed numerous times, primarily in the neck. Police also.
And look, I just scratched my neck.
I know your neck is very
That was
red.
bad timing.
Oh, no. Yeah, I see it. Honey.
Now you look like Princess Leia. With
You
your
really
headphones
do.
and your white sweater. You look like instantly like Princess Leia.
That is the exact costume.
It took half a second to transform you.
Yeah, my headphones.
Take a
That's
picture.
incredible. Done. On it. On it. On it.
You like
Okay,
Liz
you need to
Lemoned
come
out
down a little bit so I can
and hide the
yes.
neck more. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Pardon me while we have a photo shoot.
Sorry, yeah. This is
Oh
how
my God.
podcasting works.
It's so good.
An extremely shallow grave. Oh my God, you look just like Princess Leia. I was trying to hide
Oh,
my red
no.
neck. It seemed insensitive.
We are all the memes.
God, that was bad. This is bad. I'm so sorry. This horrible case, this horrible way for this lovely woman to die. It's just
Yeah.
Listen, when Princess Leia comes in the frame, it's you stop and you
She's
acknowledge.
hard to ignore.
right.
Yeah.
We needed a moment of levity to get through the rest of this.
We're doing our jobs, people.
Okay, glad I could help out.
So police also discovered the bodies of 2 dogs, which were later determined to have belonged to Philip's mother. So it's possible that he
The same
had-
day?
Well, I don't know. It's possible that he had attacked and murdered the dogs Friday, and that's what he was writing about on Facebook?
Maybe.
So the mother didn't know that the dogs were dead.
Mother was out of town.
So the dogs hadn't been killed like a month before.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I don't have specifics, but I'm guessing it was the same period, same weekend.
Sure. Okay.
They had been disposed of in the trash. So they were fresh. They hadn't been like long decomposed.
Picked up.
Yeah. Schwab later admitted to police that early on the morning of June 23rd, Kaylin had been thrashing around in her sleep and accidentally hit him. And
I mean, Kenyon's a thrasher.
I'm a thrasher.
It happens.
Oh my God, yeah. He claimed that this prompted him to get out of bed, retrieve a knife that he had previously stashed in a dresser drawer, and begin stabbing Kaylin while she slept.
Oh.
Because she just accidentally hit him while she was sleeping. I mean, because is the wrong, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the instigation for him.
Right. She woke up and attempted to fight him off and flee, but he pursued her and stabbed her to death.
Jesus Christ.
And then he used a hose to soften the backyard garden to dig the shallow grave. So the soil was too hard, so he tried to like soften it up to be able to dig better, but he obviously still couldn't dig that deep.
The fact that he already had a knife stashed, the fact that he watered down the dirt so he could dig better. Like there's such a weird, incongruent, like really rational, thought out, planned
like
things,
some
and then like,
premeditation. Yeah.
oh yeah, cops, come on in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes and no. I think he was just delusional. Like there are moments of not necessarily lucidity, but there are moments of like logic, like A to B, without being able to like understand the context of what it is you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Like he killed these dogs and he knew to like put the bodies in the trash can.
Yeah, you got to hide it.
He wasn't really hiding it even. He was just like, ew, gross.
I guess cleaning it up.
Well,
yeah.
he was kind of hiding the dogs, and he was kind of hiding Kaylin. He didn't do a good job with either one, but like, what would be the point of burying her body if not to
so there's gotta
hide
be
it to a degree?
Some amount of like, oh, it's expected of me to do this. Like this is what
This is what comes next.
Yeah, this is what's supposed to come next. But it's like you're not making enough of the connections, like you said,
right?
In you know the way that you and I would if we were ever doing that. To be like really thorough and then also be, you know, afraid of like letting the police into your home and being discovered.
And he didn't clean up any of the blood.
Right. So there's definitely still, it's like you're going through the motions of what you think you're supposed to do, but there's enough of a cognitive disconnect to just not be going through those steps in a way that makes any sense. Yeah.
To not actually be like really rational about it. Yeah.
Right.
So the murder occurred just 2 days after Philip began posting the disturbing Facebook messages. After the crime was alleged to have occurred, Philip continued posting to Facebook, with his messages becoming more and more cryptic and chilling.
Yeah.
Some examples of these later messages included, quote, "Yeah, you're next, Dad."
Ah!
Where's his dad?
I don't know.
Could be her dad. Could be any dad.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah. Quote, "I always work hard at pleasing the audience, LOL."
Ooh.
So I think that refers to probably voices.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And
I
like
could see
other, having a delusion of other people watching what he's doing and reacting to it.
Or anticipating like the news audience. Like when this news breaks, possibly.
Possibly. I don't know.
Maybe. I just don't feel like he's making those kinds of connections at this point.
I have no fucking idea what is connecting and what is not connecting.
I don't think anyone really does
in
this situation.
Right. And maybe some experts on schizophrenia, could have seen cases like this before and do understand it better. I don't know. Also, preface this next part by saying there's some anti Asian American Pacific Islander racism thrown in to his delusions happening. So this next part is racist. Quote, "You know they eat dog in China. Should have known God backwards."
Jeez. Okay.
Ugh.
So just, again, like, where is that even coming from? And was that related to killing the dogs? So he's already, like, thinking about dogs, and he's, like, in his brain, like, I don't know if he's rationalizing killing the family dogs. And in other places, people eat dog, and dog is God backwards. And
It's just a jumbled mess.
yeah.
It's delusions.
So between Friday morning and Monday morning, when the police arrived, Schwab posted hundreds of messages, several of them even more disturbing than the ones listed here, which I just can't even fucking get into. However, Kalen's family members would later state that although the posts were disturbing, they were not necessarily out of the ordinary for Schwab, who often made cryptic posts that could be worrisome. But those posts, like when he was okay, those posts would turn out to be references to movies that he was watching at the time, and he liked to just take like a snippet.
So you could draw the line clearly from where this is coming from in those circumstances.
I did that with my away messages when we were in like middle and high school.
Yeah.
All of my away messages were really out of context movie quotes.
Yeah. Or like lyrics.
My aunt died of diphtheria.
Yeah. Yeah. People would be like, what?
Are you okay? I'm so sorry.
I thought they were genius.
Right.
But it's because nobody knew what the fuck it wasn't even emo songs. It was like random old films.
Yeah, it cracked you up. It amused you. And
Mommy Dearest. Yeah.
If your partner hadn't disappeared, nobody would have been concerned because it would have been on par for your behavior. So
good thing nobody did disappear.
Yeah, that's the story we're going with. Nobody disappeared. These are not the droids you are looking for.
Is that
circles back.
Is that a Princess Leia thing?
Leia.
Okay.
Well, Princess Leia doesn't say it, but it's from Star Wars.
Never seen Star Wars.
Go watch a Star War.
Yo, Jessica Walter.
Go watch a Star War.
Here's $20. Go see a Star War.
So Schwab was arrested when the police arrived and saw the blood, and then he showed them the garden and they found the dog. Like, it all happened in that moment.
Real quick.
Yeah. And so he was arrested on the spot and charged with first-degree murder. Following a preliminary hearing at which he pleaded no contest, Schwab then pled guilty to the murder charge. So there wasn't like a trial.
Right.
The prosecuting attorney in the case declined to pursue the death penalty, quote, despite the overwhelming evidence in the case and utter disregard for human life, citing Schwab's disability and his IQ of 76. His defense attorney argued that because of his disability, Schwab did not fully understand the legal proceedings. This difficulty in understanding led to several delays in Schwab's trial, I guess, whatever.
Or at least sentencing, probably.
Yeah.
Pre-trial trial.
Right.
Yeah.
And his receiving permission to have weekly in-person meetings with his mother to discuss what was happening. So that was a privilege that he was granted that other folks wouldn't have been granted. Because according to his public defender, quote, Mr. Schwab has little to no social skills and as such does not understand what is happening right now. He is on Social Security disability and his mother has been his caregiver for a number of years. Ms. Ashmont, his mother, knows how to communicate with the defendant in a way he can process. So basically they were allowing the mother to come in once a week to like help him cope and like walk him through what the fuck is going on.
To even be able to communicate with him effectively. That makes sense.
Right. I have no problem with that. So despite the difficulties and delays they have caused under Idaho law, Schwab's processing difficulties do not affect his competency to stand trial under Idaho law.
Oh, dear.
which states that IQ does not affect competency and that, quote, mental condition shall not be a defense to any charge of criminal conduct.
I really don't agree with that.
Which I think is some of the strictest laws around that in the country.
Yeah, that's ridiculous to me.
Idaho, I think, is like super red. Is it not?
Oh, I think so. There are like 12 people and they're all Republicans. Sorry
Well,
if
they all
anyone's
live on a
listening in
compound.
Idaho, but you're not because you're listening to a very liberal show.
My brother-in-law might be listening.
If you're listening from Idaho, you're probably not offended.
Yeah.
Hi, Alex and
I
Amber.
heard Boise is beautiful, but no one there is going to
Cannot
hear me.
Wait to visit my timeshare.
Outside of Boise and Idaho Falls, lots of compounds for like doomsday people.
Mhm. I love your potatoes.
Great potatoes.
Ugh, so hungry.
Buntata. Okay, so Ishtalum buntata gumur.
I'm so hungry.
I
for
like potato a
buntata.
lot.
I love
Okay.
garlic bread.
As of the most recent reporting on this case from June 2020, Schwab was still in prison awaiting trial. COVID-related delays have also likely been a factor in postponing it. Kaylin Blue's family traveled to Idaho and brought her body back to Colorado, where she was properly buried.
Oh, honey.
Ugh.
Her uncle told an Idaho paper at the time, quote, "She was a very, very loving person who really loved her family and friends. It's just absolutely heartbreaking that things had to be this way."
Yeah, that's so sad.
I know. It's so
R.I.P.
sad.
Kaylin.
I know.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's just horrible. And like, she didn't do anything wrong. She
No, she was
fell
following
in,
her
she
heart.
fell in love. She
volunteered at like a community garden.
Yes,
I know. And it's when it's mental illness and a psychotic episode like that, he's not. I don't
Yeah.
think he's at fault either. I mean, it's horrible.
It's tragic all around,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's hard to know. It's very hard to place blame. Like this is not a cut and dry case like so many others that we offer
Right.
or that we cover.
Right.
Ugh.
It's not satisfying to not have
No.
someone to blame.
Yeah, I just want to be able to be like, well, fuck this guy.
I know.
But you can't.
So that is my case. And thank
Nicely
you
done.
to our fan picker, Miss Alexandria.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you so much for that.
Oh, thank you.
Are you ready for my case?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Is it anything like Kenyon's?
There's a Facebook confession.
Oh, well.
Fancy
good.
that.
You nailed it.
What are the
Nailed it.
odds?
It's a mental health. We shall see. This is actually a pretty well-known case, especially among Broadway fans of the stage.
Thespians.
Thespians.
Well,
Because this is a gentleman named Marcus Bellamy, who had been an aspiring Broadway performer and a talented dancer. He appeared as a dancer in the live Broadway productions of Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark, Spiderman, Turn Off the Dark, and Tarzan. He also danced on the television series Smash, which aired briefly on NBC.
Loved Smash.
Yes, you did. And in the films Across the Universe and A Midsummer Night's Dream. So as far as professional dancers go, like he had a lot going for him. His career was on a great path.
got a nice resume.
Mm-hmm. Marcus was also coupled and living with his partner, Bernardo Almonte. And Bernardo was an IT technician and cancer survivor who had been in remission for 11 years when tragedy struck on August 19th, 2016. So Marcus and Bernardo got into an argument in their apartment in the Bronx in New York City. It is unclear what sparked this argument, but who knows? Couples fight over all kinds of shit. It could have been anything, and that detail is honestly pretty irrelevant.
Yep.
The encounter escalated to violence when Marcus physically assaulted Bernardo, inevitably beating and strangling Bernardo to death.
I
my
gotta
God.
I gotta see this guy and also see who he was on Smash.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. I think he has like an IMDb. So you can
Good
look.
photos.
He was like a backup dancer, so he didn't have like a character role on the show. So it
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me if
So
you
he
don't
has
recognize
the
him.
the pillowy lips and the glasses and the beard, the mouth beard.
No, that is Bernardo.
Oh, okay.
In that photo of the two of them, Marcus is on your left, Bernardo is on your right.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I
Mhm.
thought they were the
No.
same person. They both
Sorry.
have pillowy lips.
They're very attractive, lovely human
Great
beings.
brows. Oh, yeah.
So Marcus then slowly exited the apartment with Bernardo's blood still on him. Some reports said he knocked on a neighbor's door. Others said he just sort of like ran into a neighbor in the hallway. Either way, a neighbor saw him with blood on him. The neighbor called the police. A spokesperson stated, quote, someone who lives in the building saw Bellamy walking out of the building with blood on his hands and then inquired what happened. And Bellamy made reference that he, quote, hurt the victim.
God, it's so similar.
Yeah.
The Facebook confession, the not hiding the blood,
Mhm.
and saying and admitting right away and using the word hurt.
Right.
And not kill.
Yeah.
It hurt them.
Yeah.
Marcus then waited for police to arrive and confessed immediately to what he had done.
Wow.
So his Facebook posts on the day of the murder and the day before raise a lot of questions as to his mental state at the time of the attack, and we will get to it. His Facebook is still up today, though it has not been posted to since the day of the murder almost 5 years ago, and it definitely felt like a weird boundary crossing to go to the actual page, which I did.
Did
Oh,
you?
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
going
yeah.
right now.
And it's just in doing so, I realized how different it is to like see screenshots of the post in an article
Yeah.
about the case
Yeah.
versus scrolling through their actual page, seeing like reactions, comments, things like that. It was really bizarre.
So scary.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm also glad that I looked at it because so much of the like degeneration of where he was at mentally feels obviously after the fact clear looking at like the
Like it
days
tracks.
before. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's not stuff that's necessarily included in these articles. So I did feel like I got a little bit more insight into what was going on in this man's head
Right.
at the leading up to this.
The order of events, the chronology.
So I'm going to walk you through some of these posts because that's why we're here. First, I'm going to share a couple of them that set the tone of this from August 18th, 2016. So this is the day before the murder. There's 3 different statuses that he posts on this day, among other like random photos and things that are just kind of disjointed and don't really make sense. But these 3 were like really stood out to me as being pretty alarming. One is, quote, I suggest you learn how to speak telepathically because I can hear your whispers through the walls. Another is, about a month ago, ... God sent a thought to me, period. The thought continued to reoccur in my mind, ... So, period. Now, ... I am ... asking God ... to let me know if it's true, ... God said to me not to worry about Donald Trump being elected into presidency because he will pass away before the voting happens. He will pass away from an illness that no amount of money or medication will be able to save him from. That's what God
only.
said to me, ... If it will happen, ... I don't know, period, God, end quote. And so, okay, as you know, as a gay man in a gay man of color in a relationship with another gay man of color, he's clearly concerned about the Trump presidency. Super
As
fair.
he should be, yeah.
As he should have been.
But these posts are not making sense.
No, and God is sending
Lots
him
of
thoughts
ellipses.
that are
Lot of ellipses.
what's the word? Intrusive.
Right.
Because he says reoccur.
Speaking to him.
and he doesn't know if he can believe his thoughts,
Yeah.
but he knows that they're sent by God and
Exactly.
they're predictive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's feeling very adjacent
Yeah.
to schizophrenia. Folks who hear voices, who not everybody who hears voices has a schizophrenia diagnosis, but it is a fairly common
Mm-hmm. Symptom.
and
you know,
vice versa.
symptom.
Yeah.
And another on that same day, quote, any plot, plan, or action against me will only result in my triumph and your destruction. So we've also
Ooh.
got paranoia
Yeah.
happening here.
Yeah.
So then in the wee morning of August 19th, and when I say the wee morning, I mean like this shit starts at like 2:33 in the morning.
Oh, that's the wee small hours
Wee
of the
small,
morning.
middle of the night, really.
My
He's-
bedtime.
Pretty much, but yeah. He starts sharing photos of with seemingly religious undertones with hashtags like I am Marcus Bellamy or just Marcus Bellamy. Then he posted the dictionary definition of intelligent design with the caption hashtag intelligent design, hashtag Neo. It's 3 a.m. on Friday, August 19th, 2016, end quote.
So Neo, like from the Matrix?
I'm
Is that
not
a Matrix
sure. Maybe, which the Matrix is, adjacent to the Book of Revelation. But
Well, Neo is its own
right,
word
it could be
also.
anything. I have no idea if that's a Matrix reference.
But
Who
also,
knows?
I am Marcus Bellamy. It kind of points to feelings of grandiosity, which is
Oh,
also
yeah.
linked to
Oh, and we'll get
schizophrenia.
to that too. Mm-hmm. So these posts continue on through the night and into the day. One says, I don't need to do anything. All I need to do is be. God will work out all the details. Hashtag relax. Hashtag earthquake.
Earthquake.
You're living in the Bronx in New York. I don't think that was a response to experiencing a middle of the night earthquake, but I didn't look into it.
Earthquake. Maybe
Then
it's an emotional earthquake.
Yeah, exactly. Then a pretty creepy picture with the hashtag the rapture. I plopped a photo of it on the drive. It's like a drawing, obviously a professional drawing, maybe a digital drawing of the people in the
Souls
fire being lifted
being,
up into the
sucked
sky.
up.
Yeah. A little creepy.
Very
Then-
Ursula Little Mermaid vibes.
Yeah, kinda.
Well, it's
then another
it's all very
post-
doomsday.
Yes.
Maybe it's
Like
not
what we were
the
talking about.
rapture. Maybe it's therapture.
Therapture.
The rapist.
Therapist. The pen is mightier. The penis mightier.
The penis mightier. But also, speaking of all these doomsday people in Idaho,
Mm-hmm.
Here we
all
go.
about the rapture.
Mm-hmm. Then he posts just B, like the letter B, just and the letter B. That's all I need to do. Hashtag relax. Hashtag
Beyonce.
right. Hashtag relax. Hashtag teach me. Hashtag how to trust again. Hashtag not in God. Hashtag but in you. Then he posts Bible verses. Then quote, trust me, this is just the beginning of a whole new world.
Can I just say he religiously inclined before
Already?
this?
Yes, it would
Okay.
appear so.
Okay.
Just a side note, and also just a comment about these hashtags that are full sentences
Mm-hmm.
split up into different hashtags.
Mm-hmm.
There's one other person that I know who does this on Facebook, and that person
It's definitely having a mental
Not
health
well.
crisis.
Yeah.
is not well.
Granted, this was also 2016, but that's, hashtags were still very much a thing. That wasn't new at that time. So yeah, a lot of this, and I literally in my notes, I just copied and pasted off of his exact Facebook post. So you can see how things are worded, where pauses are put,
Where periods are.
strange punctuation. Yeah, it's not.
I appreciate you expressing that in your verbal dictation of your notes. By the way, because
it's very
it paints a picture.
It's disjointed for sure. This is not a linear frame of logic that's creating these posts. And religious or not, religiously inclined or not, I feel like this has stepped beyond sharing Bible verse of the day and expressing your, thoughts about God.
Oh, completely. But I was wondering.
It's conspiratorial.
I was wondering how much of a departure from his
I don't
normal
know
thoughts on religion this was.
Right. I don't know the exact answer to that, honestly. It's of my
But
understanding
as
that
a gay man working in New York in the arts, I don't know
I
that he
mean-
would necessarily be thinking about the rapture.
maybe not. However,
normally.
I don't know how culturally competent we are to even really address that too, because he's also a person of color. So there are connections even in more marginalized by your sexuality or your inclination of career
Mm-hmm.
that are still very connected to their faith, even though there are
Right.
so many things within that faith that might be against how they
Right.
identify.
Right.
And I don't have that kind of
Mhm.
I don't have that kind of connection to religion. The second I
Mhm.
could stop going to fucking church and whatever, I was dope, I get to sleep in.
Mhm.
But I do know that in a lot of communities of color, like religion is much like their faith is a lot stronger than it is among like me and my white friends.
Or like especially too with like depends on like upbringing or how
Right.
like inculcated he was in certain
Totally.
things. Like I grew up not ever hearing about the rapture,
Right.
so it might not pop into my head.
Yeah. I think it's a lot more culturally incorporated in a lot of different areas of the world than it is for necessarily how the three of us grew up.
I was
For
just
sure.
curious about
Yeah.
him.
I mean, I don't have a solid answer, but it does seem like he certainly was religious and like a believer in God before this started to go down. So then, but in the middle, he'll post random weird shit. Like one is just a photo of a Ferrari with hashtag our new Ferrari, hashtag my new hat. But it's like, it's not a picture of his own car. It's an ad photo off of the internet.
Right.
Then a quote from Albert Einstein, quote, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift," with hashtag the gift. So it's almost like he does have some awareness that he sounds irrational.
Right.
And so he's posting this to be like,
I'm
listen,
intuitive. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
I'm speaking truth.
Yeah.
Like I'm speaking the truth right now. You should be listening. Then a couple of posts about getting in the zone with hashtags like "you're invited to join us" and "let's do this." And then
some MLM hashtaggery.
those two posts were weird because it was like pictures. One was like one of those keep calm memes. It's like keep calm and get in the zone. And I was like, where is this coming from? But are you like amping yourself up for something that's about to happen? Like, who knows? Could have been.
It's a protein shake meme, I'm sure.
Could be. And then at this point, things take another turn. So he started posting between like 2:33 in the morning. Now it's 10:48 a.m. So he's been up all night.
Yeah.
And he posts, quote, "I have been foolish, period, never mind, period, false alarm, period, hashtag the universe."
Oh no.
10:48 a.m. Then nothing after he's been posting all night, nothing until 2:57 p.m. when he posts, "Forgive me, Father." Then a minute later, "I did it for love."
Oh no.
These are separate posts.
Oh no.
Then like 30 seconds after that, quote, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only son."
Okay, so presumably he murdered his partner.
He did.
They
knew
were
that at the top
they were
of
in a
this, but-
gay relationship. So maybe there's some sort of like shame or guilt that's rooted in his religiosity.
I mean, maybe, but that's not
I feel like
where
it's
this is going.
it's not uncommon for folks with a mental health crisis to turn to
Yes.
Well, that's very true.
Yeah,
just
we've seen
religious
this play out.
themes.
We've seen this play out with
Yes.
an individual that we all know
Yes.
posting some very, very disturbing things on Facebook that are deeply rooted in religion, and it is
Well-
well known that he is also struggling with
And
his
the
mental health.
couple of breakdowns that I have personally witnessed on my own Facebook page, they
Really weaponize religion.
They inevitably turn to like hardcore religion. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just like a sewing together of like religious doctrinal wording and phrasing.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
That's kind of the gist of it.
Right. Right.
But I'm just wondering if because he is a gay man of color in the New York City theater scene, like maybe
Yeah,
maybe that did play a role. I don't know.
Maybe I can't speak to his experience, but that has not been alluded to or suggested in any of the stuff that I've read about this case.
okay.
Okay.
So
I'm just
unless-
bringing it up.
You know, unless after the fact he has said that that was his experience, I'm going to assume it was not because he has not expressed that. So who knows? Then 30 seconds after the, for God so loved the world post, he just posts one word, Lucifer, period. Then it's 3 p.m. So now all these posts are happening within like 3 to 5 minutes. 3 p.m. quote, "I am God. I give life and can take it away. So let it be. Hashtag the rapture."
Okay.
3:02 p.m. "Forgive me. I did it because I love you. I love you all. I loved him also. He told me love and hate are the same emotion. Forgive me. I know not what I do. I did it for love, for God on high."
Ooh, he's already saying past tense.
Well, yeah, that's basically in a nutshell his confession is
Yeah.
that message or that status update. And then the final status update from like seconds after he posted that is just I am, just those 2 words, and then nothing else has been posted since then on his
Oh
account.
my God. And you saw this on his actual page. That is so creepy.
It was a little jarring. So, like we said, we've got some religious delusions of grandeur
Yeah.
and paranoia happening for sure throughout these posts. He's calling himself God. He's being spoken to by God. And like I said, we've absolutely seen this before in folks suffering from mental illness, especially in cases of schizophrenia, which it's not always
Right.
that, but there seems to be like a pretty strong foundational link between escalation in sort of the paranoia in a schizophrenic episode and linking that to religion. And I wonder if that is like a grounding thing. Like there are things in the text that support the things that you're hearing and experiencing while so many people around you are telling you basically, quote unquote, that you're crazy.
Right.
So like I could see that comfort that you see there where it's like, look, it's in this text. Like what I'm saying is true. Like this is the
Right.
proof.
Also, I don't know if you already said this, but so there's lots of translations of Yahweh, which is like
Right.
God. And one of them I'm pretty sure is something along the lines of I am.
Right.
So
That
maybe
could-
that was
yeah.
that might have been an allusion to
And
Yahweh.
it's also just so, I mean, religion is how we as humans translate these very basic experiences of like life and death.
we as modern humans.
Right.
Well, ancient humans did the same thing with just different trappings. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like that's how we.
I thought you meant like the
process-
language. Yeah, language. Yeah.
Right. So it just kind of
Yeah,
seems
so it actually
like
feels
Right.
feels like a good fit, honestly, when you are
Right.
experiencing like so many things that you can't understand what's happening to you.
and there's
that-
good
yeah, I'm
and evil. You know,
Right.
there's like big.
It's
themes
it's like
that
there's
work.
grounding and validating things to be interpreted in these texts that then can place solid, like quote unquote, evidence to what you're experiencing, even if what you're experiencing is a result of your mental illness.
Right.
So I get it. Like I can see the connection there. I don't know. Religion freaks me out anyway. We've been over it. Either way, I understand. So while Marcus's legal team did say in his sentencing and in his pretrial, because he confessed, so it was similar to what Kenyon's case was. Like there was no trial to find him guilty. It was like, you did it. Now we got to figure out how we're going to sentence you based on this situation. So his defense did say like he's suffering from severe mental illness, quote unquote, but it's unclear if or what his diagnosis is. So
yeah.
that's not uncommon in some of these cases because actually schizophrenia and bipolar disorder are like very hard to diagnose in a solid way. And so he might have had
It's a
like,
really broad like
It is.
umbrella.
and there's often comorbidities and it can be really
And
hard
if
to
he
nail
didn't
down.
have a pre-existing diagnosis, it can be
Right.
a lot harder to prove after the crime because who knows if he's faking it to get a
Right.
lighter sentence, right? Which I
Well,
don't think
and what
he
makes
was,
it-
but
much, much harder. And something that we deal with a lot in the substance use disorder community is how much of this is mental illness, and it's usually both, and how much of this is psychosis brought on by substance use. And it was discovered in court that Marcus and Bernardo had been using methamphetamine together, and on the 18th and 19th, they'd been using together throughout the day and night.
Oh, no.
Oh shit.
And obviously, as we know, methamphetamine is an incredibly dangerous substance, but like even more damaging to those who have pre-existing mental health conditions or disorders
Yeah.
to trigger paranoia and all kinds of underlying issues that maybe had been quite under control.
And aggression.
And up until then, yeah, depression, which he does admit to having experienced, and God, who hasn't? But it's like
Did you say aggression?
aggression, depression.
I said, yeah, both.
But yeah, it just makes it. Yeah, you're not in your right mind.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
So the
A whole
courts
nother
ruled that
layer.
Marcus was in a, quote, drug-induced state of psychosis at the time of the murder. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Under a deal with prosecutors, Marcus pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter on February 20th, 2019. So that whole process took like 3 fucking years.
Ugh.
His 20-year prison stint will be followed by 5 years post-release supervision. So he's very much still in jail now. In court, Bernardo's mother, the victim's mother, made a statement at sentencing through tears. I mean, I can't even imagine how devastating. She talked about her son's cancer diagnosis, saying, quote, "But he survived. He survived it. 11 years later, I received the bad news. Bernardo was killed. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Having won the battle over cancer, I was shocked to hear that he lost his life at the hands of someone else after God had given him a second chance at life." She went on to say, quote, "No human being deserves to die the way you killed my son. It was inhuman. For no reason. He was taken away, and I still don't know why. This is a question only you can answer for me. Why did you kill my son?"
And he can't even really answer that for you.
He tried. I mean, to his credit, he tried. He
Right.
tried to answer this in a statement by saying, quote, "I want to apologize to the family. Bernardo was very special, and he didn't deserve what happened to him. You asked me why. Your son and I used to smoke a lot of crystal meth together. On this day, I thought your son was the devil. I didn't want to do what I did. I want to make it clear that I loved Bernardo. He took me out of my depression. I didn't mean to destroy somebody."
Oh, God.
It's just so heartbreaking because I really do feel like it's very similar circumstances where it's like, fuck. But obviously, if we have to compare who's the bigger victim, it's obviously Bernardo and his family.
Obviously.
Because there's no going back from that. There's you can't unkill someone. But Marcus is also a victim in this situation. Like, he's a victim of his substance use disorder, and it's just so fucking sad. Because Bernardo's mom is right. This was totally needless. Like, this did not need to happen. It's really tragic. And it also raised a lot of questions about, like, was there ongoing abuse in their home? And they aren't really sure. You know, it's not clear, at least from the research that I did, whether or not they'd had physical altercations with each other before. And for a lot of folks in the LGBTQIA plus community, this case raised a lot of concerns about intimate partner violence that had long gone and still goes overwhelmingly unaddressed, especially in the gay male community.
Super
and
underreported
in the way-
and actually very high rates. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot of research that shows it's at the same like risk and circumstances, if not higher than like any cis hetero couple. It's
Right.
not like it's less. It's just not
Yeah.
paid
Why
attention
wouldn't
to
it be?
toxic
Well,
masculinity. And we'll get to it. But like,
And there are fewer social barriers and taboo. I mean, obviously, it's never okay to like hit a partner, but there are fewer taboos around gender and physical violence in homosexual
males
pairings.
specifically.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there are a lot of situations in a hetero couple where a man might think, well, I'll never hit a woman, and like that's the line
Oh,
that
yeah.
they've been
They
brought
can
up
hit
with.
another man.
Right.
They
Exactly.
deserve it. Like,
Right.
So, in the wake of this murder, a gay man named Brian Pacheco wrote in The Advocate, quote, "When was the last time you remember hearing about domestic violence among LGBT people? I am willing to bet you'll struggle to remember. As a gay man, I often feel that the only time we ever talk about domestic violence as a community is when there is a murder in the news. Just this weekend, Broadway dancer Marcus Bellamy was arrested on charges, that he strangled his boyfriend Bernardo Almonte to death. Otherwise, we are radio silent on the issue because so many of us think it's, quote, a straight issue. And for so many years, we fought for equality and rights, and specifically for the right to marry. The perception is that if we talk about domestic violence, it somehow delegitimizes the battle. Furthermore, as a society, there is this misconception that abuse in a same-sex relationship is just a fight. How many times have you heard, yeah, they're dating, but they're gay. It's just two guys fighting. Let them fight it out. But abuse is different than a fight. Domestic violence is one person trying to exert power and control over another. It's dangerous, and it often escalates over time. Domestic violence in the LGBT community exists at high rates and deserves our attention." End quote. So I just want to end my case by saying, like, we have to believe victims. While I don't know what the history of violence between this couple was, that doesn't delegitimize that this was an intimate partner violence situation, and we need to recognize it as such. And like super tragic on all accounts. And there, you know, the victimization, I do feel like, considering the substance use disorder and the underlying mental health issues, is also like so complex and broad across the board in this particular case. It's just like very complicated and just all around really fucking sad.
Yeah. I think,
and
I think we know, like you said, we know that this is an act of intimate partner violence. What we don't know is whether or not there was a pattern of abuse.
I have no idea. I tried to find out
if it was
there
a
history.
one-off due to completely
2 days
other
of smoking
factors.
crystal meth.
Right. Than
Well, and like Kenyon
a
said,
typical
this-
pattern of abuse, which is actually highly logical and rational.
Right.
And probably its own fucking type of illness, I would argue. But
And like Kenyon said, all this type of abuse is underreported. So like, how would we even know if there was a pattern there?
Well, exactly. I mean, that's part of it. So that was another reason why it was like worth mentioning this response to this case. And just a reminder that if you are finding yourself in a situation where you need help, the National Domestic Violence Hotline serves all communities and is trained to be culturally competent and understand the additional barriers and nuances of the LGBTQIA plus community. You can contact them at thehotline.org, which like a lot of these other websites has a great exit feature to like quickly get you off the site. It has an option for contacting in a way that can be easily erased or kept from your browser history. They've thought of everything. They also have a 24-hour helpline at 1-800-799-SAFE, which is 1-800-799-7233. And as always, we have a lot of resources listed on our website, which is like kind of an inconspicuous way to kind of peruse your options, because if somebody does pop up over your shoulder that you don't want to know, it's like, oh, I was looking at my favorite podcast website. I'm just clicking through their tabs, you know, like it doesn't immediately stand out that maybe you're trying to seek out resources. So just wanted to mention that for anyone who may be listening, who's in a precarious situation and needs some assistance. Like there are organizations and people who care and want to help you.
Yeah. And also, like, if drug use is a contributing factor in your situation, like, no guilt, no shame. These organizations have seen it all. They're not going to, like, report you to the cops.
No.
Because
And if
drugs.
drug use is a factor in your situation, or substance use disorder, and you are not using and your partner is, like, you aren't abandoning or you know, doing them a disservice or you know, ruining their recovery, etc. by prioritizing your safety.
Right.
'Cause
narking
that's
a
equally
verb?
important.
It is
Narking
now.
a verb.
I think I've heard narking.
I'm not narking.
Yeah. So you have options, and we're here for you.
Yeah. Well, thank
are.
you. That was a really tough episode, but
This episode is shockingly sad. I was
Yeah.
expecting, I don't know why I wasn't expecting this though, because anyone who's going to confess to a murder, but I did originally see a case that I just couldn't find enough info on. I wanted to cover it, but it was like someone basically evading taxes and then bragging about it on the internet, but it was so brief that it wasn't like worth covering. But those are not the cases that you put on a
Oh,
podcast.
was it like the sheriff's department that posted something and then like the perpetrator like commented on it?
Yeah,
No,
like,
I
was
wish.
like, that's a bad photo of me.
Oh, I've covered that
Yeah,
guy. I
something
think in
like
a
that.
GAC or something. No, this was
Oh,
a
yeah, I think
guy
you
who was like a rapper, and he like wrote a rap song about evading taxes while he's like spreading his money around, and everybody was like, why are you posting this YouTube confession as a song, which I appreciate, like all over your social media?
tax
Don't
evasion.
No taxes.
All right. On that note, thank you to our fan picker, Miss Alexandria, and we will talk to you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
It's really hard to open mac and cheese when you've had a bottle of wine to yourself. I'm doing my best. I did it. Okay, I think I might have used a pot that was too small because it's overflowing. Every time I put it down. I swear oh, now it's not doing it. Oh, classic. When I'm recording, it's not doing it. Okay, now we add some butter. And we put in some milk. And cheese. And if you smell burning, it's 'cause it probably is. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Making mac and cheese. Oh.